Alright guys, so today we're just going to show you how to install this evaporator fan motor in this refrigerator. So generally, they just send me out to install these parts on the appliances, but obviously if I do see I need to re-diagnose because it's not the right part that's going to fix the appliance, I will do so. But this is more just for the purposes of actually showing you guys how to be able to install certain parts on your own. That way you can kind of avoid, paying a good lump sum to a third party to do that for you guys. So enjoy this little video, but just so I can kind of run down what I'm doing. Usually they're just a bunch of 1/4 inch screws at the beginning right there where I started. The top railing, you had to remove those two screws, 2 1/4 inch screws, because that upper rack is not going to come out, and you'll see that in a little bit. Removing the door is pretty simple. You don't have to remove all screws, just the top two. The bottom two. And leave the upper two on top, just so they can act like hooks when you're trying to put it back on. So that's just me getting more tools. Excuse the noise, guys. I'm dealing with allergies. But yeah, right there, those little brackets, you do have to lift them up. They do have a little bit of a lever. Sometimes you do have to break the tabs off in order to lift them back up. Don't worry if you do break them or not, but try your best not to. But you do have to lift those lever ups in order to release the back wheels, so the actual drawer can come all the way out and you can remove it. So right there, I just get a flat blade, a little bit of a I call it like a little bit of a sharp needle nose that I have right there, just to kind of lift it up. Sometimes you will struggle a little bit, but once you get the first one up, it's just easy clockwork for the one on the other side. But yeah, it's not really that complicated. So right there, I'm trying to do it to the one on the other side, and see, right there, the railing came off with it. Don't worry. If that does happen, you can just put it back in. It's just literally like a puzzle. It just goes back on its place. Look. Doop. See? Simple as that. Right there, I was confusing it for another one that I did a while ago. So that's why I was doing that. But that one, you just have to lift up the little basket and just remove it. That one, just put it back in its place, and you're good to go. So now that you've removed everything in front of you, well, excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. So you're going to have to remove this ice maker in order to be able to actually remove that back panel. So usually these ice makers just have 2 1/4 inch screws. Like I said at the very beginning, most of these screws are just 1/4 inch. If you don't want to remove all the screws on the ice maker, you can just untwist them to the point where you can lift the ice maker up and remove it. And on the panel itself, it usually just has about 4 screws left. But you see me, I'm putting back the screws just so I can hook the ice maker back up when I have to. So also, you do see where the ice maker was connected. You do have to release that connector receiver in order to be able to, pull the panel out. And right there, that grill, you'll see a little indicator in the middle of it. Kind of shows the actual flat blade of how to remove it. You basically just put it in and either push to the left or to the right, and then simultaneously kind of pull it with you, and it'll come right off. It's just held on by some tabs. And the same thing on the other side, just a bunch of tabs. And it's really self-explanatory. Right there, what I said a little bit earlier, you do have to remove that. But again, tabs. See right there, I'm trying to remove it. There you go. see, I think I have one less screw left, and I think we should be good to go. Yep, there it is. Just put it down. And right there, you do see the evaporator fan motor. Now, the only hard part about removing this one would be just removing the wire harness that has the tabs on them. You'll see there's one on the left and one on the right, but on the right hand side all the way in the back there is another tab that you do have to remove in order to release it from those wires running across from it, so it can come towards you. But it's the whole little assembly is held on just by those two screws, those two 1/4-inch screws. You see right there. Again, guys, sorry, I do have a bit of an allergy problem right now, so please excuse all the sniffles. And this motor only has two connectors and one ground attached to it, so it's pretty self-explanatory. One thing I will say, please, 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 if you are doing this for the very first time, take pictures of everything that you do before you disassemble. That way you can have a reference point to when you are going to basically put it back together, so you know how to put it back together, because there's no point of changing the part if you don't even know how to put it back together. So yeah. Oh, and remember, at the beginning I did say that I'm just really strictly installing parts. But if I do see that this part is not going to fix the actual issue, then I will re-diagnose the actual appliance and order the correct part. So for this one, the main issue was that the refrigerator seemed like it wasn't cooling properly. Like the fresh food side wasn't really holding temperature, and things in the freezer weren't staying frozen completely. Only the ones all the way in the back. But I don't know if you were able to see on the right hand side of the evaporator, you see all that frost build up as if like a little bit of a block of ice. Truly, this probably just needs a filter dryer replacement. Just do a seal system on it, and then we should be good to go. But just to add more context to it. But yeah, you'll see how I remove the motor. So usually you just want to take off the fan blade that's on top, and that gray that's holding the motor, that's basically just held on by some tabs. Uh, this is a pretty easy change out, but just always try your best not to break any of the tabs, because remember, you do have to put it back together, and if the tab's no longer there, it's not going to be able to basically hold it in place, and it's going to end up falling off or not be dead center. And when it comes on, you're going to hear a lot of rattling noise, and you don't want that. So right there, you see. Trying to look for the new one. Yep. Out with the old. In with the new. Remember, always put things back just how they were. And the way you know you basically is you are putting that little bracket on correctly, you'll hear the clicks on it. It'll just go. And remember, when you put the fan blade back on, be sure you push it all the way down where you can't actually push it down any further. That way you know it is dead center. So right now we're basically going to put it back into position. So what you want to do is just basically put the tabs back on before you screw it on, because the one that would give you problems if you don't do that first would be the one on the right hand side all the way in the back. But as soon as you do that, just be sure to place the wire harness exactly where it was. Be sure you align the 1/4-inch screws to where it's supposed to be screwed on. You don't have to take them off, but just unscrew them off to the point where you can remove it. That way, when you do have to put it back on, you can just place it back into position and just screw them back on. But on this one, I actually took one of them off, so that was my bad. But yeah, guy, that's really all that there is to it. Installing these, um, I'll be doing these more often just to kind of help out everybody, or even people that want to start working in this sort of field, the appliance technician world. I know when I started off, I wish I could have saw exactly what I was doing, you know, in other people's hands. But yeah, this is more just to help out anybody that wants to do this on their own, but especially anybody that's starting off in this field. So I'll try to, upload anything that I do install, and I'll be sure to put the part numbers to it so everybody can have a reference point, and you can look up that part number yourself. So, most of these things are pretty easy, but for the most part, it is doable on your own, and you know, I think that'll be the end of it. That's just me basically putting everything back together. So, uh, just always remember put everything back how they were, so it could be, you know, it looks right basically. Yeah, but anyways, appreciate you guys for watching. Please go subscribe and thank you. Hope y'all come back. Peace.